Welcome back, gang. What up? It's episode 49, and we're feeling fine, and dandy even. Maybe not dandy, but close. And I welcome you guys here. Thank you for joining once again. I am happy to have you and appreciate you guys always come. Who, not always, but maybe there's someone that's listened to all the episodes. If you're that person, or if you're those people, damn, son. Much love to you. We're basically best friends. Even if I've never met you, I feel like you probably know me. So I love you guys. Thank you again for being here. I had to go to Mexico for a week to kind of get away from things, get some perspective. I was gone last week. I mean, you guys wouldn't know because whatever. We still keep the consistency out here on Height Drop. But if you listened to the previous episode, you can maybe, decipher that I was feeling a little bit just like I needed some perspective. I needed to get focused again. I need to refocus, redirect the momentum in my life in a way that, felt more purposeful. So I did some work out there. It was really good. Obviously, it was really fun. It's Mexico. It's not cold out there and shit. So good times were had. But also, it was the right move for me to make. I'm glad I went out there. Sometimes you got to chop yourself off at literally like at the location of where you are, just to kind of figure out what you want to do next, and also to appreciate where you're at. I was stoked to come back here too. I feel really good being back, gaining whatever. I don't want to get too hippy dippy on you guys, but let's just say I'm stoked again. I had a moment of, I hope you guys are feeling stoked with me. That's all I can say, because I definitely was feeling a little bit down over the last few weeks. Whether or not you noticed or not, I don't know. Don't matter. Because, sometimes you just got to work through that shit. Everyone goes through things in their life. But what helps is when you get to listen to young pimps like this. Joel Culpepper. We're going to kick this off with Joel Culpepper today. Listen to this guy. He's like... I'm going to show him too on the podcast so you can see, but this is ridiculous. All right, here we go. This is his Colors performance for that YouTube channel. But the man needs to give me a raise. Look at that guy. Need to work. Cause if I don't, I'm gonna hurt. Lost my mind. With my baby trying to find some loving. I need to provide for my woman. For my woman. I mean, just what kind of note is that for anybody to hit? But look at him. He looks, you guys can't see if you're listening, but he's just shirtless dancing. He sounds like he's just old school jazz singer almost, but just the passion, man. You just got to have that passion. You got to find the passion. That's what I take from that song, And I appreciate, he got that need to work. And like, that's something that, you gotta, I was thinking about it, and you gotta you gotta embrace that grind, like part of why I was feeling down is because I was just not wanting to get down to business in some ways. And I was avoiding some things, just not wanting to look inwards at some of the work that I needed to do on myself, or for, even something like this, the podcast. But you know what? It's not really that bad. Once you turn around and look at it, or turn to the side and look at it, wherever it is, you start to realize that it's fucking right there for you to do, and you start to enjoy doing it. And it's weird because at least I was feeling like like it was stressful for me to talk about some of this stuff publicly or whatever on air, because I find it a little bit embarrassing. Growing up, I thought like having like issues and feeling down and stuff is like just not for strong-minded people, and I wanted to be like that. So I'd bottle things up. But, if there's anything that we've talked about the most on this podcast, it's probably like that's okay to have these things. And like everybody goes through them, and it's inspiring, and it's actually really helpful to talk about all that stuff, even if you're not, and also it's really good. Like the other side of that was as kind of nervous or like scared, maybe you could say I was to talk about some of my own like doubts and fears and stuff, and then share them and post about them and whatever. The other side of that is like by going through it and making myself do it, even though I didn't really want to, then you start to remember like, oh yeah, I don't give a fuck again, like in the best way. There's that book going around, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, and it's like, I haven't read it, but I know that I kind of understand it just based on the title. It's like you have to give a fuck about the right shit and not the wrong shit. And you start to remember like, what do you really give a fuck about? And it's certainly not being embarrassed to be whatever, honest on the mic or whatever. You just start to regain that sense of focus and that sense of direction, I think, by facing your fears, whatever they might be. And you shouldn't be embarrassed about that stuff, really. Like that's another thing. Is just like this, everyone goes through things at different stages. I think what I was worried about was that, and I don't want this all to be about me, and we're going to get over this real quick, because that's another thing that, hey, there's so much more I want to do with this podcast than talk about, my feelings and shit. But, and probably you guys are like, all right, get the fuck to it then. But what I was going to say is just, everyone goes through different things at different times, like what I was embarrassed about was like, man, I felt like this stuff I should have worked through when I was like a teenager or like 20s or something, just sometime younger. I was like, damn, some of the things I'm like worrying about right now, it's like been built up perhaps for a decade or longer, and like you carry these issues with you and you kind of don't recognize them until they're boom, like until they've built up. If you're like me and you've bottled shit up for whatever, I don't know. I don't need to go into it anymore, I guess. But you guys understand, I'm sure. It's just some people are like going through that problem at that time in their life when they're much younger, but then they face another one when they're much older that like I've already overcome, like a cocaine addiction, for example, or something. Like, I'm not proud of this, but I did cocaine when I was basically I was in high school. I was 16 years old. That's when it first came across my doorstep. And, I started looking at drugs recreationally and whatever. I don't want to go into all this shit, but basically, I recognized pretty early on that shit ain't for me. And I was like, you know what? This drug does not make me a better person. It doesn't make me a better me or friend or anything to anybody. It's not good. So I, was able to move beyond that. But, some people face that struggle with cocaine because for me, whatever, this is just a really extreme example, but I figured why not share the extreme version here. But yeah, like I liked, there's certain drugs, like you like them, you like the experience, the novelty of it at first. And I think a lot of experiences even are like that. And then, if you don't cultivate a healthy relationship, or you start to lose yourself in it, or if you're escaping and that's what you're doing with the drug instead of facing the fear and turning around, whatever, working on the thing you need to be working on, if you're using it as a vent of, it could be really unhealthy medicine that you're trying to administer to yourself. I think ultimately that's what people are seeking. They're seeking kind of help, but they fail to, we're not doctors. So, I was able to recognize that and move beyond it when I was a young person, luckily. I didn't get like dive deeply into that drug at least, but someone might be like 50 something by the time they like but by the time cocaine and their life circumstances and all this stuff, like there's a certain maelstrom of life that like creates some kind of disaster or whatever, or the feeling of it. And and there needs to be no judgment passed on like whatever journey people are going through. Again, everyone's going through some shit. That was another thing, is like being like aware of what my shit is compared to my friends. Again, we've talked about this stuff a lot in the mental health episodes. You should go check them out. We did some mental health episodes with Nick Ortiz and some other people. I don't need to get more into it. We've already gone 10 minutes here. So basically, I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm getting more stoked again, and I'm hype about the direction of what we can do here. And I got a lot of new ideas and things that I want to work on. And, I realized, partly that working on them is going to make me feel better about everything, not just constantly, you can dwell on that. When things go wrong, you kind of want to, you need to reassess things. So you start looking at yourself maybe and I'm very critical. So, I'm already my harshest critic. So when you're like paying attention to yourself more than, than even normal, it can actually spiral out of control if you're not having healthy thoughts. But let's go ahead and move forward on that. I don't know if you guys saw, but this is kind of related. Tyson Fury, for fuck's sake, Tyson Fury, my guy. And Deontay Wilder, for Jesus, not to take anything away from either of these guys. So there's this huge fight. I've been talking about it maybe for the last month and a half or 2 months or however long since it's been announced. I've been hyped about this heavyweight boxing fight. And the way it went down was, first of all, it's an epic fight. It was amazing to watch. Like, I watched it in Mexico, actually. So I people are up in arms about what happened. The decision was a draw. So if you didn't know, basically 12 rounds of action and it went to decision, and they called it a draw. And a lot of people are pissed because, a lot of heavy, super boxing fans, people that really probably know the sport and appreciate it maybe even more than I do, or at least they are way more intelligent and focused on the techniques and what they all mean and stuff. They can understand boxing for sure better than I can. And they're saying, well, Tyson won all these rounds, and Deontay for sure won 9 and 12, rounds 9 and 12, because he knocked Tyson down in 9. And in the 12th round, and this is what the most amazing thing is, and this is why I don't even really want to talk about the controversy too much, because first of all, it just doesn't, first of all, I think that it should have been a draw. So I agree with the decision. One of the judges' scorecards is a little bit all right, man, maybe there's some corruption in boxing. It's not news that anybody that, has watched the sport or followed it for a while, that some of the judging in boxing it can be corrupt or shitty or both. And that's neither here nor there, because in the end, it was the right decision, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm glad that I heard some other people, because for a while, all I was hearing was everyone. And I was like, am I crazy? Because the fight I watched, and maybe it's because I didn't hear the commentary because I'm in Mexico and it was, it was in Spanish. I couldn't hear what they were saying or understand it, and the action. And just what I saw, I was like, that was a super close fight for most of the rounds. Yes, Tyson was out boxing Deontay, and that was amazing to watch. I mean, it's hard. I literally couldn't tell you guys what the story is, because I just don't want to talk about this for that long and bore you with it. But we've mentioned it before. Tyson, speaking of the mental health shit, Tyson has been such an inspiration, because he was pushed to the brink of suicide. And again, this shit happens to everybody, right? So he was the heavyweight champion of the world, had everything, millions of dollars, family, great family and great friends and everything. And he still, if you bottle that shit up, he'll be the first to tell you. And that's one of the things I think is so inspiring about Tyson and his story, is his willingness to share on this stuff. And it's given a lot of people the courage to, also open up, I think, including me. And so much love to Tyson, but he's also just a legend, son, literally and figuratively, the Gypsy King in the sport, because of what he's accomplished. And he, came out of nowhere, basically, this. He's named after Mike Tyson, for fuck's sake, and undefeated, beat Vladimir Klitschko, the heavyweight boxer that was reigning champion for 10 years, the lineal heavyweight champion. And then just fell off the deep end, because I think what happens with people that suffer from, and again, I'm not trying to like put myself in some category that's on the same tier. I think the problems that I've faced have been relatively mild, but again, it doesn't really matter. Like, you shouldn't need to qualify any of that shit. But let's just say that like people, he was bottling things up and he was dealing with mental health, and that was his boxing was a way to kind of like channel that energy, but it was also a way to escape some of those things. So when he finally achieved that insane goal, knocking Vladimir Klitschko off the heavyweight podium and becoming a lineal champ, he fell into like a deep depressive state, gained 150 pounds or something, like was just drinking, doing cocaine. Like I said, again, that's why I think I mentioned that, but like just losing himself in the drugs and the alcohol and just being a piece of shit basically as much as he could, like having no value for his life, having no appreciation for anything. And this is weird, like, this is like some duality shit, but it's like you kind of, if you don't feel those things, I feel like that's when you bottle them up, and then they come out in this really unhealthy way. But you have to feel them. Like, that's what I'm saying is like, you, by bottling them up, you're just stacking this huge chip for yourself to like cash in on in a bad way. But had he dealt with it over the years, he probably would have been, not as happy I don't know, whatever. What am I talking about? I'm not a psychiatrist or a whatever. What's the other one? Psychologist. I'm not either of those things. And but basically, what I want to talk about is just how fucking amazing Tyson Fury is as a human being and figure, because he came back from all of that. He lost over 100 and whatever pounds. He worked his way back up to being in this fight with Deontay Wilder, who's a fucking another legend. Like, these are two amazing human beings, and this is why I love watching boxing and combat sports, is because I think it's essentially some of the hardest shit and the most amazing, inspiring things that anyone can do. And I draw a great deal of inspiration from it. So the story is insane. It's like Deontay's knocked out 39 opponents out of 39 opponents, or is he's 40-0 with 39 knockouts, but one of those non-knockouts was a decision that he won against an opponent that he later knocked out. So he's knocked out everyone he's faced, and he's just an insanely destructive, amazing force. Literally, I mean, their fucking names. Tyson Fury versus Deontay's Wilder, maybe. It's like Wilder, wildness versus fury. Furiosity. Like, you can't write this shit, right? It just makes you just I don't know, makes me stoked, at least, to just know that this is history as we know it, being written is just pretty wild. And they there's this other champ, Anthony Joshua, has kind of been dodging them, making good money and being like maybe the most famous of the two. But now this decision, and the fight was amazing. The fight was so amazing. I mean, Tyson was slipping out of everything. It was very close. But as far as I could tell, Wilder had done enough to secure at least a draw. Like there was at least 5 or 6 rounds at the beginning that were so fucking close. You could have given it either way. And I think because everyone really, and you cannot know Tyson's story without just loving that man. Like, he is a fucking glorious human being. The way he carries himself, especially knowing like everything that he's gone through. And there couldn't be any more evidence for that than in the 12th round. In the 12th fucking round, literally at the very end of the fight, after, how long is it? 3 minutes? After 37 minutes of fighting, basically, that's a ridiculous amount of fighting for anyone to do, much less two guys that are over 200 pounds. I mean, Deontay's 220 pounds or something, and then Tyson is actually like 260 pounds or 270 pounds. They're 6'9", 6'7". They're huge human beings. For them to be moving around and giving their all like that for that long. In the 12th round, Deontay finally finds him and lands this huge overhand right. What he's known for, he's the hardest puncher in heavyweight boxing history, is what people are calling him. And and not undeservedly so. I mean, he's fucked up 40 people or 39 people, basically, 40 times. And he lands this other combination, this left hook behind it. I mean, you have to go see it. I'll fucking put the thing in the description. The link is insane. He flatlines Tyson. Tyson just goes completely out, like limp, eyes roll in the back of his head. You're like, holy shit, it's over. Holy shit, Tyson Fury is dead. He killed that man. He could, I mean, seriously, like, you're concerned. You're like, what the fuck? And somehow, at around like 5 or 6 count, like the ref is like 5, 6. Tyson's eyes open up and he's just like, I read a comment online. It was like, he got up like he was late for work. Like, it was fucking ridiculous. Like, he just opens up his eyes and he just stands up like nothing happened. It was insane. And the ref is like, you're right here? He's like, yeah, I'm good to go. He's like, walk over here, walk back. He does his little jaunt. I mean, it couldn't have been like it couldn't have been a more impressive comeback from that kind of destructive force. As far as I'm concerned, maybe, ever. Like, it is literally like, you cannot write this shit. And it fits so amazingly into the story and in the inspiration that he was able to, I mean, his biggest thing was his comeback from his mental health battle, right? And you would expect someone who gets fucking knocked out cold with that kind of, like he was able to build his mind from damn near suicide to being so strong that even after being flatlined, as soon as his eyes are open, he's like, I'm fucking ready to go. He's like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready. I'm back in it. He's like, my eyes, I'm here. I'm up. I'm going to keep fighting. And like, I mean, I don't do it any justice. You really should watch the fight, just watch the knockdown. I mean, you should really watch the whole fight because the context gives it a lot more just value. But, if you listen to Tyson after the fight too, he's a really, really inspiring figure. If there's anyone else I'm drawing more inspiration from, there's no one else. I mean, seriously, like, Tyson Fury is a fucking legend. For him to be able to get up like that. And even if you don't struggle with mental health, it's just like, fucking holy shit, Just like, we just got fucked by fake gymnastics, right? Parkour community just got fucked over. They just voted, basically, like, a bitch slapped us in the face with their vote. Like, it wasn't even close. I mean, yeah, you're gymnastics now. Like, parkour is apparently like one of these gymnastics events. Is like, as far as, I mean, I don't know what official things need to be taking place still, and like what we can do, and but it's that kind of blow for him to just be able to get back up. It's just like, that's the kind of inspiration we should all take. Is like, all right, we may have gotten knocked in our ass just now, maybe not. I mean, I don't know the context. It's hard to grasp the whole political climate surrounding this whole thing. But for Tyson to just literally just stand up after getting hit by the heaviest puncher in heavyweight boxing history in the 12th round, after coming back from being obese and a drug addict who almost killed himself. It just shows you, like, just how far, like, we can come. And, Tyson says, like, oh, I got robbed of the comeback and, like, I should have won the fight. And, like, arguably a lot of boxers would agree that, he did win the boxing match. But in the fight, as far as the fight terms, again, I'm a pretty new boxing fan. So I should probably, you shouldn't be listening to me necessarily about this, but I don't have a problem with it. I love that it's a draw. I love it because these two forces, like, nobody, they both deserve, and everybody wins with this draw because both of their stock rises. Now no one gives a fuck about AJ, who's been dodging both of them, Anthony Joshua. And they, the heavyweight division, they're all boats rise. They're both going to get paid a shitload more for the rematch, which everyone wants to see. And really, the story wasn't over. If Tyson would have won the decision after getting flatlined like that, it would have been an amazing story. It truly would have. But I don't feel like that's the way that, you know, he should. I mean, damn, actually, it could have been, I don't know. It would have been an amazing story. But also, if they gave the decision to Deontay, it would have been an amazing story. Like, Deontay's also got a rags to riches story from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And I don't mean to dick ride Tyson Fury so hard, but, you know, we all love that guy so much. But he's, you know, Deontay's story is just as impressive. And I think that's, you know, something that, you know, even I and like everyone else has not really given him enough credit. It's like, yes, Tyson was the better boxer. You know, he was slipping, he was getting out of the way. Deontay could not find him. But Deontay had the heart and the determination to stay with it until the last round when he finally knocked him down. It's just like, he could hardly punch him. He could not find him for the entire fight. But he wasn't getting hit either. It's not like Deontay was getting fucking lit up. I mean, he was the aggressor. He was constantly, you know, pushing Tyson around and, you know, trying to hit him and making Tyson. I mean, Tyson put on an incredible performance. They both put on an incredible performance. Deontay didn't necessarily look his best, but he brought the best out of Tyson Fury, which not everyone could do, I'm sure. And it's different fighting styles. Like, what do you value? I mean, he did more damage. Clearly, like if I was going to be one of the other guys, I would want to be Deontay. I would want to be the guy that didn't get knocked out cold, you know? So, yes, like, he's not as skilled a boxer, but he's got the heart, the determination, the aggression, and the power. You know, he's fighting a guy that weighs 50 pounds more than him and is taller than him and has a bigger reach. You know, there's a lot to be said for Deontay Wilder's courage too. And the first person you should listen to who will say that is Tyson Fury. After the fight was over, there was no one singing their praises higher, or Deontay's praises higher than Tyson, which again shows the character of both these guys. I mean, they like literally kissed each other on the cheek or something, or not. You know, yeah, I don't know. I didn't see it, but they said in the post fight, like, "Did you? It's incredible to see you guys kissed." But yeah, I mean, they had like, amazing respect for each other. So much appreciation for you know, bringing the best out of each other. That's what it's all about, you know. You could tell I'm hype on this shit. Anyhow, the fucking fight was amazing. I love that it's a draw. A lot of people are pissed about it, but I think that's the right way it was. You know, it was exactly what we got, the best thing possible, because it wouldn't have been complete. You know, Tyson got the fuck back up. That was so insane. He got up like at the 10 count. Like, he was like 1, 2, they get 10 seconds to stand up, and like right at like 9.5, like that's when he was on his feet again fully. I mean, it was just so close to the wire. It was such a close fight. And truly, I don't know, you know, what happens in the rematch. Like, you could say, well, Tyson's got all the experience now. That was more than, you know, his 2 tune-up fights before that were not fucking legitimate. You know, they were cans or whatever is the term. They were shitty fighters, basically. Now that Tyson's back in the game and his head's right, he's definitely going to be able to evade Deontay. But Deontay didn't look his best. Deontay might be able to find him earlier and put him out this time, or, you know, just measure his shots a little bit better. Deontay's getting better too. I mean, he's the older man, but he's the less experienced boxer. He still is like gaining more with each fight probably than Tyson does. You know, Tyson's been fighting since he's, you know, an infant, basically. You know, like that's the travelers, the gypsies' way that's what they do. Like, that's the biggest thing you can be in their. I mean, and fucking A. I could go on about it forever. I mean, Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, 2 champions, 2 amazing fighting men, and Jesus, that's what I can say about that. Yeah, go back to the Fig thing real quick. Is all I wanted to say about that is, like, I read the letter, I read like this little blog post or this article about, you know, the encroachment, and like, I mean, it's not described as that. It's a journalistic article, so they're trying to give a neutral perspective, I guess. But this is what we're up against, you know, like, we're up against money, basically. I mean, money talks, you know, like they want to retain market share. Like, they said basically explicitly, like, they're trying to paint the picture like, oh, gymnastics, we need to innovate. We need to innovate in the discipline. It's like, all right, well, innovate is not steal parkour out from underneath its own culture and pretend that, gymnastics is the same. Now, I don't want to focus just on the negative. I mean, I still believe in the powers of our community. I really do. And no matter which way this goes, I think we can do a lot to make sure that it's a good thing ultimately. I think we can I mean, I don't know. Like, again, my position from the beginning has almost always been like, fuck the Olympics altogether, because this is what they do. This is their MO. They fuck disciplines. They bend over disciplines if they're like, and they fuck them. That's what they do. They're fucking assholes. Pardon my French. Pardon la putain. But yeah, that's what they do. I mean, they are money driven. They're a business, and that's not necessarily a horrible thing. That they can offer us a lot potentially. I mean, they could offer avenues for athletes to really do some interesting, things. And the bronze bomber, Deontay Wilder, was an Olympic athlete. That's why he's called the bronze bomber. After about a year of boxing, he won bronze in the Olympics. It's a place where he was able to sharpen his skills. And still, no one really cares about his Olympic boxing career. It's like what he does outside of that has inspired me and inspired other, many millions of people probably. But, so, hopefully we can use whatever happens as a launching pad for what we all want to accomplish with the discipline. And also just know that it's just do whatever the fuck you need to do, like that. If there's anything else, it's like, I mean, it's not going to stop me from doing what I want to do with parkour. It certainly is not going to do that. I mean, it can fuck shit up. It can fuck some shit up for sure. But just like, I mean, if Tyson Fury can get up from getting fucking flatlined, then we can get up from whatever they throw at us. You know what I'm saying? So we just gotta, just keep getting up. If you feel like you're not gotten, if you still have fight left in you and you have something to fight for, and you're just keep fighting, I guess that's the message that I got from Tyson Fury and from Deontay Wilder on that fight. I mean, they both showed amazing grit and heart, whatever. I've been jerking them off for this entire podcast, basically. But here we are. This is the end of this episode, basically. We did it. We done did it. I don't think there's anything else I needed to discuss. I just wanted to talk about those few things. I mean, it's unfortunate with the fig thing, and we'll figure it out though. We have all the powers. This is the age where things are the most fucked up, but we have the most potential at the same time. That's like the duality of life. It's like when you're with a thing, you get the good with the bad, that's just what it is. And so, we got fucking Donald Trump as president. And I'm not saying that I definitely am not a fan of Donald Trump. Like, fuck that guy. But also, I don't want to shit on Republican people or whatever, but that was what I loved also. It's like, that's the fucking beauty of the draw as well. It's like everyone wants to jump into a camp. It's like, oh, fucking Tyson got robbed, or Wilder should have, they should have started the 8 count earlier or the 10 count earlier. Like, everyone wants to just jump sides, and I love that everyone's forced to deal with this draw and come together. It's like, look who came together instantly after the fight. Deontay and Tyson Fury. They were hugging, making out with each other, basically. And, that's what we all need to do. It's like, we need to stop jumping to different sides of the aisle. That's how we're fucking shit up in some ways. So, I love that this is a draw, because you can be I love both of these people, both of these fighters. That's the thing, is I don't love the Olympics, but I do see the value in things that they bring to the table. Hopefully there's a happy medium, but we're going to have to, You know, it's just fucking tough, right? Like we got the Trump actions, but you know, that's kind of brought us all together to realize that we need to, it's revealed like, you know, the flaws in our society at the same time that it's revealed the strengths, you know, like the fact that somebody got in who wasn't really supposed to is a cool thing. The fact that he really shouldn't be there is not such a cool thing. You know, you know, as far as I'm concerned, it's just like, all right, we have this fucking real wild card in the White House in some ways. And I don't like that he represents, you know, how immature and just easily swayed the American public can be, and just, you know, he's a bit of a demagogue, where, you know, he's just able to play to people's fears and worst desires and lowest common denominating fruit in some ways. But it just goes to show, like, you know, he was the one who's at least demonstrating to us, like, look at how fucking terrible the system is, that, you know, that I can just come in here and basically bully my way through to the top, to the you know, without too much resistance, you know. So you got to appreciate him for that. You gotta, yeah, fuck, man. It's tough, but you got to just keep getting back up and keep coming to the table, I guess, with something that, you know, is going to take us further and forward. And, you know, hopefully that's what we're going to do here with this platform more and more, is offer you guys the opportunity to participate. And I really want, I guess, like this last section here, what all I want to say is I really want to get your guys' feedback more than anything right now. I want to make, you know, this podcast and this channel, and maybe do some other things outside of this, more about what you guys all want. You know, for a long time here, I've been doing basically what I want, and what I want now is to really give you guys what you want and need more. And so if you have an idea, if you want to publish a video to the channel or to the Instagram, or you have you know, a voice, or you want to get somebody on the podcast that you haven't heard from, I'm going to start breaking my rules. I'm going to start bending the rules. You know, I didn't want to do any Skype interviews because I don't like them, but I don't give a fuck that I don't like them now. You know, if you guys want to get me, if you want to hear from somebody in a different country or something, and they're willing, I'll try to get them on for a Skype interview now, or a phone call. We can start doing some more stuff. I want to be, you know, just more open to different things. I got approached by some interesting interview action actually recently, so we'll see if that pans out. With some interesting products that somebody wants to talk about on the podcast. But, you know, this is the fun of this platform, is I can't believe that anyone wants to already, someone that found me, like, wants to get on board with this podcast. And that is inspiring to know that, you know, there is a future here for all of us. So what can I say? What can I say here, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen? I feel like I'm just getting lost in my own thoughts now. I tend to do that, and so I'm gonna break this back down with Joel Culpepper, and we'll get the fuck out of here. You know, I'm a little bit aggro today, but I'm just getting fired up, son. I'm getting all fired up because I'm ready to get after it a little bit harder these days. You know, like, part of me wants to just show that spirit. You know, when you got all of that inside of you, I think that's like how, you know, you can, and you don't let it out. That's what happens to Tyson Fury, for example. It's like, he had a lot of shit, but look at how much more he is now that he's letting it all out. He's so much more. And you saw him after again, I could go on forever, but it's just like, you know, I don't know. All right, guys. Joel Culpepper. Let's get the second half of that song now. Where is it? Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah.
Fellas, I know you hear me when I say, feel like I'm flying, and nothing's gonna get in my way. Get the hell off my back. The system trying to make a man track. As long as my baby's here,
I'm gonna lead no fear. All right, guys, I hope you guys are out there leading with no fear and doing all that shit. Feel like you're flying. Don't let anyone stand in your way. All that good stuff. Listen to Joel Culpepper and get at me. I want to hear from you guys. I want to open this shit up. We'll see you soon. Peace.